Welcome to the Deep Dive. We sift through complex sources, pull out the key insights, and basically give you the shortcut to being genuinely informed. Today, we're digging into something fascinating, a real paradox in communication. How do you get across a huge, deep, emotional message when you have almost no time at all?
Yeah, it's a massive challenge. Really tests how deliberate you can be. Film usually needs time, right? For depth, for character arcs. But when you cut that time way, way down, the difficulty just shoots up. Our sources, especially John McArthur's analysis over at Moviescramble, they basically say that for a short filmmaker trying to create something memorable, something with wonder, it's almost, well, he calls it an almost impossible task.
Right, that impossible task. That's exactly what grabbed our attention. So today we're diving into a review of a specific film that seems to have pulled it off. Find Your Place, a 2012 short by Italian filmmaker Nicola De Prato. Our mission here is to kind of unpack how this film works. What's the blueprint for hitting so hard, so fast? How did De Prato do it?
Well, the first thing that just jumps out, the constraint, is the runtime. It's kind of astonishing. We're not talking 10 minutes or even 5. The total running time is just 1 minute and 43 seconds.
Wow. 1:43.
Yeah, 103 seconds. That's it. To set a theme, build emotion, take you on a visual trip, and land some kind of philosophical point.
Okay, 1.43. That's barely long enough for a decent trailer, let alone a whole narrative arc. So what's the actual core message they managed to squeeze into, that tiny window?
The film's really about the connection between people and their place, specifically the city. The narrator expresses this really deep love for the city landscape and for the people in it. And the sources point out the city isn't just a backdrop, it's framed as a character itself, a unique entity.
A unique entity. I like that. That's interesting because, cities and films often feel kind of cold, maybe isolating. How does this film flip that?
It flips it by focusing completely on the human side of things. The argument is the city's true character isn't the buildings, it's the people. The sheer complexity they bring. We're the ones who, take the city and make it what it is. We fill it with our work, our energy, and maybe most importantly, our hopes and dreams. It sort of elevates everyday life, doesn't it? Saying your individual life actually contributes to this huge shared thing.
That's a big idea for such a short film. You have to make the viewer feel like their small life fits into this giant picture. Which brings us, I guess, straight to the visuals, because with time that tight, you can't really rely on long chats or complicated plots. It's got to be symbolism, right? Really potent images.
Exactly. Visual shorthand. That's the only way to convey time, experience, scale instantly.
Okay, let's really unpack this, because this is where it gets super interesting, I think. To show a whole lifetime and link it to the city, the film uses two specific, very different subjects. What images did De Prato use to capture that whole spectrum, the full cycle of life the analysis mentions?
Yeah, he uses these two really powerful figures, kind of like symbolic bookends. First, there's the infant child. The analysis really zooms in on the close-ups, the details, smooth skin and large eyes. And this image is all about the start of the journey. It represents our wonder and our striving for the answers, just pure potential looking out at this big city.
Right, pure curiosity. And the contrast then gives you the payoff. What's the other bookend look like, the end of that search?
That's the old man, again, shown in these really strong, reflective close-ups. He's described as having a world-weary look, wrinkled, weathered skin. So if the baby is the future, this man is literally wearing his history. Every line on his face tells a story of a life lived right there in that city.
So it maps that journey from wide-eyed wonder to wisdom. The source notes that the awe and wonder are replaced by wisdom and contentment in the old man. But he's still in the city, right? Amidst the hustle. Does the review mention any tension there between his inner peace and the city chaos?
That's where the short format is clever. You don't really see the struggle itself, you see the outcome. The film seems less focused on the process of finding peace and more on the fact that you can find it, even in a complex city. Seeing his calm, knowing face against all that fast-paced city life kind of suggests the wisdom came from that experience, not despite it. It feels like integration, not escape.
That shift from searching to belonging, that's huge for less than 2 minutes, and it circles right back to the film's core idea, hope. The message that we're part of something bigger, and if we find our specific place in it all, we can really feel like we belong.
Exactly. It's a pretty deep philosophical concept delivered with incredible visual economy. And like the source says, that philosophical weight just wouldn't land if the technical side was messy. The message relies entirely on perfect execution.
Right. It's one thing to have a big idea, another thing to actually deliver it perfectly under pressure. Those tight constraints demand discipline. So let's talk about that discipline, the mechanics. How do 103 seconds feel, well, expansive instead of just rushed? The review calls it beautifully shot and orally engrossing.
The visual choices are definitely key. Like the lighting is a very specific decision. Every single shot, every sequence in Find Your Place, it's all set in bright sunshine.
Bright sunshine. That feels deliberate, like rejecting that gritty urban look we sometimes see. Did the reviewer say if that risked making it too simple? Or did it help the optimism?
No, it definitely helps. The sources say this deliberate brightness maximizes the beauty of the surroundings and the impact of the message. It takes maybe ordinary city scenes, a sidewalk, a face, and makes them feel significant. It reinforces the idea that the city is inherently positive, full of life. It's like a visual vote for the narrator's optimistic view.
And keeping that positive feeling going across so many different images so quickly, that needs perfect assembly, rhythm.
Absolutely. The editing gets specific praise. It's called a very nice piece of editing that makes this super short film flow so well. And when you're using symbols so fast, the flow isn't just about time, it's emotional. The editing creates this quick, rhythmic montage connecting the child's feeling to the old man's contentment and connecting both to the city's energy. The brevity forces this incredible efficiency. Every single cut has to push the emotional story forward. Editing is really the hidden backbone here.
Okay, let's switch to sound. Often gets overlooked in short film reviews. The sources mention the soundscape, specifically the simple narration in a deep, even timbre.
Yeah, that calm, steady voice is like an anchor. When the visuals are cutting quickly, and remember that editing is tight, the narrator's deep voice gives it stability, authority. It makes sure the philosophy lands as wisdom, not just rushed words.
And the music. A good score can create instant emotion, which must be vital when time's so short.
That's the final technical element mentioned. The music is memorable, a piano-led score by Mattia Cutini. Choosing the piano is interesting, isn't it? It often feels intimate, reflective, personal, which perfectly matches the narrator's personal reflection. It anchors the visuals, boosts the intimacy, and pulls you into this individual's journey, even though the subject, the city, is huge.
Okay, so when you put it all together, the precise symbols, the child and the old man, the deliberate look with the bright sunshine, the rhythmic editing, the intimate piano score, it starts to make sense how it works, how it feels bigger than 1.43. The reviewer's final take is really positive, calling Find Your Place a little gem of a short film and telling people, yeah, go watch it.
Definitely. And if we boil down the key takeaway for you, the listener, thinking about communication, about narrative, the sources give a pretty clear blueprint. Extreme shortness, that 1.43, it doesn't have to block profound messages. But success really depends on intentional design. The technical stuff, editing, light, score, and the core symbols, child, old man, have to work together perfectly, like in symbiosis, to carry that message's weight.
Yeah, it's like clarity and discipline winning out over sheer length. The filmmaker took this huge, maybe overwhelming thing, a massive city focused tightly on the individual's journey through time and belonging, and somehow made the viewer feel connected, found the universal in the specific moment.
Being able to distill the essence of being human, that whole arc from questioning to contentment in under 2 minutes. It's quite something. It speaks volumes about De Prato's skills, sure, but also about the power of montage, of focused symbolism. It really shows that every frame, every single second has to count. It has to be loaded with meaning.
So what does all this mean for you? If a filmmaker can map out that whole human experience, wonder, contentment, searching, belonging, in less time than it takes to boil an egg, what's the absolute shortest time you need to share your own key story, your mission, that critical business idea? Think about that 1.43 mark, that level of ruthless efficiency needed to make every second truly matter.
That's the real challenge, isn't it?
Yeah.
Boiling down all your complexity into one compelling case for belonging.
Indeed. We'll catch you on the next deep dive.